figure it out.
I feel like it's not even that hard. You give her like a nice little template of three, maybe like a bird that flies. You got Gorilla Grodd.
Mhm.
You can give her some strength. I don't know, maybe have her do a stomp or something, or even keep it like cat move in there. But it's just like,
I don't even think you even got to do all of that. You can just like every like action move that she does, all you just got to do is just put a spirit of an animal thing over it, and there you go.
boom, good to
When you
go.
see her do her roll, just put like an armadillo
I was,
thing
I
over
was,
it. There
I
you
don't know
go.
why I was going to say it's a worm.
Okay, we don't need you
I
in that department.
don't think worms roll like that. But
All right. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of another relaunch. Oh, you know what? This week I want to be Virgil Hawkins static. You know, an OG fave of mine.
ooh, I will be Jackson Hyde, Aquaman.
I know that's right. Yes. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing a lot better than last week, so that's always a plus.
Okay. That's great.
No, it's been a really good week. It's actually warming up a little bit here in DC. I think we're at like 65 degrees today, which is like a feat when it's been like in the 20s and below for the last few weeks. So yes, I don't need you to tell me about your Cali weather and what it's feeling like out there. I'm
I
sure
wasn't going
it's
to say
beautiful.
anything.
Okay, I'm just letting you know that I don't need to hear about it. Let me enjoy my 65 degrees. But other than that, I'm doing well. How are you?
You know, I've been great. Um, I won't bring up, the temperature. We'll move past that. But it's been really crazy for me, like during the week at work. This week has actually kind of flown by. Like, damn,
Hmm.
where the time go?
Yeah, it's an
Um,
illusion.
it truly is. Because I feel like I was just looked up and it was just last week. um, but yeah, other than that, I'm Gucci.
That's
Living.
great. That's always good.
Yeah.
Um, how are the like mandates out there? Are you guys still very strict with them, or if they start letting people out?
I mean it's vaccinations for most places indoors.
Hmm.
Um, if you want, and masks, but I think actually California has started to lift their mask mandate, but
Mm.
LA County has not. Um,
Mm.
and
I'm
I
like,
live in
I'm
LA
like,
County, so
I'm very interested to see how it goes with the summer and like with the changing of seasons again as everybody started to come back outside and things go crazy again.
I'm gonna
Like
go outside.
okay, like we just saw in the wintertime and how Omarion was taking everybody out. All right, is there?
True.
I don't need another summer variant. So let's play this
Yeah,
right, okay?
that's awesome. Maybe I don't need to be outside.
Like let's play this right.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started into the comics of the week. And up first is Devil's Reign #4, and this was written by Chip Zdarsky and art by Marco Cicchetto. And we're moving everything forward this issue. The last issue, the heroes kind of lost basically,
Mm.
and we saw that the Doc Ock had like brought his own Superior Four from like the multiverse that because he was able to steal technology from the Fantastic Four, and he now has created these like Octobot things that are
Mhm.
policing everyone. It's giving like robot like what was that movie about when people were in the future and they had like robots that were always like scanning. That's like
I was about to say that's a lot. I was like, you got to narrow it down just a little bit more for me because that's a lot of movies.
never mind. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. There's like these there's like robots in the skies that are like patrolling people and arresting people, and the heroes are all like underground. Um the Matt has this conversation with Foggy because he had like gotten beaten up in the last issue, and he is basically letting out all this guilt, how like I should have been there to help you. Foggy stops him and he's like, you gotta stop that. Like, I'm an adult. I make decisions. Like, this isn't about you. Like I can make my own choices here. You're letting your like guilt get to you. Um Then we see back inside of the jail. Previously, Sue Storm, she was meeting with her attorney and she stole a paperclip. This issue, we see that she was breaking out. She used that paperclip and broke her handcuffs off, got her powers back, broke her husband out, and then they caused this whole riot in the prison yard with Moon Knight, Iron Fist, some really cool action and stuff there. I thought the art was really cool. Then we also see some stuff with Fisk's son, who I keep wanting to call him Lil Fisk, but I think I don't. His name was not Lil Fisk. I forgot his name, but I'm gonna just call him Lil Fisk. And he had gotten arrested because of obviously like pretty much anybody doing anything you get arrested, but he got released from jail. He got released from jail because of who his dad was. His dad came and picked him up, and his dad's Lil Fisk is like, I wish you would never came. Like, you're such a weak person.
After he got him out of jail?
Yeah, he was like, I'm embarrassed like what you become. Like you don't. Like, you're not even like the kingpin, like who you used to be. Like, you're not like the boss no more. And he tries to stop him. Like, Kingpin is like, no, I will make you listen to me. And Lil Fisk turns around and spits in his face. And he walks away. And he was like, I like to see you try. They like don't like each other. Yeah.
After he got him released out of prison.
Okay, right.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
Right. So later on, we see there's a fight between the champions with Spider-Man. Vision is in it. Ms. Marvel's there, and Rhino, and they're trying to like stop Rhino. Rhino's like, no, I'm not even trying to fight y'all. Like, I'm just here to say that Fisk wanted us to go after Purple Man's kids because he feels like right now, with using the Purple Man's powers, he can like give some subtle influence over people. That's how he's been getting people to kind of vote for him. That's how he's been getting the Thunderbolts to fall in line. People can kind of like listen to him with this cane that he has, that has the Purple Man's like thumb in it, and it gives him Purple Man's like powers. I know that part's weird. I wish they would just use some like science thing to do it instead of using like a thumb, but whatever. He's got this cane that gives him those powers, and he wants it to basically be amplified with the children, the Purple Man's kids, who were the people responsible for erasing Matt Murdock's secret identity. Rhino ain't cool with that. He's like, I'm not here to arrest kids. Like, they didn't do anything. He's like, I came to come and help, ask some heroes to help out because like I know y'all. So like, help me out. So Spider-Man takes that information back to the Avengers, and they're like, we need to go take care of this. Jessica Jones is like, forget this talking. We need to just go ahead and just stop this right now and go straight to him. And we get flashback to Fisk, and he's having this intimate moment with not Mary Marvel. Typhoid Mary, who's completely opposite character. Typhoid Mary, and they bring up how like I guess they met before and how they like had dated before, but they can't really remember it, or she can't remember it because of like the issues that she's had with her memory. And all of a sudden he's like, I wish you could remember. He's holding the cane, and it pushes like the memories to the forefront for her, and she does start to remember their first date and how they did meet. And she was like, oh, I didn't know that you could do that. Like, I didn't know that the cane could do that. He's like, I didn't know that I could do that either. And he runs outside, and he's like, I want to remember. And there's a big flash, and the next thing we see is him saying Matt Murdock. So he just now remember who Daredevil is. So things are heating up. That big reveal at the end was really cool. I'm excited for the next issue. I think these next two are going to be great. Okay. I don't know what's going to happen Fisk. I think they might try to end up making him president.
Oh,
I think
I'm down for that.
I think they might do a whole like Dark Avengers thing, but with him instead of
Osborn.
Osborn.
That would be cool. Dark Reign was hot.
It was fun.
And actually that tracks because Marvel has been doing a lot of like repeats of their events. We're getting another Secret Invasion soon. We've had Civil War 2. We've had 2099 keeps coming back, which yes, actually that one I'm excited about. I love the 2099 universe. The new Spider-Man 2099 book just got announced, so shout out to that. But I can totally see Dark Reign coming back with Fisk, and I'm here for that.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of interesting. So we'll wait and see if that's what this all ended up kind of turning into. But yeah, overall, I thought this was a really fun issue. I give it a 4 out of 5. The art was great. The stories really like moving forward. I like all the pacing. Their big reveal at the end was interesting. Again, I don't know. The Purple Man stuff, in my opinion, is kind of a MacGuffin. Like whatever. But I like it. It's fine.
Okay.
Comic books.
I might tie back in. I miss the streets.
You want to tie back in for the end? I know that's right. Yeah. All right. Up next is Moon Knight number 8, and take it away.
Yeah. So this is from Jed McCabe and Cappuccio. I can't ever remember his first name. Alessandro Cappuccio. And this story. So because of Devil's Reign, Mark is in prison right now, and so this issue is actually completely about Hunter's Moon, who is the doctor that Mark met earlier in the series, who is also a follower of Khonshu. And the entire issue, we just kind of like get his mindset, and we learn a little bit more about like how he's connected to him and what's going on. We also get the return of a really big Moon Knight villain named Stained Glass Scarlet, and she is like one of my favorite Moon Knight villains. And the way Cappuccio draws her, like she has this big design where she's got multiple arms. She's like all glass. She's got like this crown going on. It's very evangelical. They're in the church. Like she looks like a big stained glass. It like looks dope. She's red and gold, and it's just like really dope. But all in all, it's a really good issue. It was really cool to see Hunter's Moon and get a little bit more of him. I'm like wondering if this is already something that they're like going to incorporate in the show when it comes out. The synergy works quick, or it's just like if he's not, like how long before he gets in.
Have you seen the picture
what? First of all, okay, while we're talking about Moon Knight, let's talk about that suit. I was always a fan of the suit from the first leak from that show, like what the concept art was. I thought it was like really good. I feel like when you have this character,
I thought it was an interesting take on his suit.
He's like based in Egyptian lore, so it's like you get a little bit of the mummy, you get a little bit of like the white superhero stuff for him. I also think about during his run that I want to say the Warren Ellis run where they did the 6 issues, he actually had kind of like this bone armor that he used to fight ghosts. And in that type of armor, he had like a lot more wraps and it seemed mummified. He also had like a big skull of like Khonshu on his head that was like really dope. But it was like very one-time armor. I feel like a lot of the suits in this show are going to kind of run off of that run and like mix and match them together. We also saw the Mr. Knight reveal, which was like...
That Mr. Knight looks really cool.
It looks really good. Like, I'm really excited for this show. I still am not 100% sure about Oscar Isaac and that accent that he was talking in the trailer, but everything else, I'm here for it very much. And like, I'm really glad that the show is going to have like this book out as well. So anybody who wants to get into Moon Knight like has a perfect jumping on point to get into him and like see what's going on. He's also going to have that Red, Black, and Blood series that Hickman's jumping off with Chris Machado. So
yeah,
we're winning. I think
Moon Knight, y'all won. Moon Knight fans are winning.
He's had the runs have been up and down, but you can go back to the that. I will say the one thing about this artist.
Do you think Tiger gonna appear in the show?
Oh, I hope not. Like talk about ruin, but like. I don't think she is closely associated enough with Moon Knight or exclusively enough associated with Moon Knight to like be a character that pops up in his show. Like, yes, they dated in West Coast Avengers and she's popped up in this, but like that's such a huge gap between the two of them and like being together and like the stories that Moon Knight has had, like in all the love interests he's had. She's like a very minor one. Like, and even in this one, she's betraying him. She's
Oh,
watching him.
Tigra.
She's watching him for the Black Panther. She's a snake.
Oh,
She's a snake.
Black
I don't
Panther
know.
got spies everywhere.
He's a snake also.
Wow.
Snakes all around. You can't trust these people in the hero community.
Mm.
Hero all and everything but name. But I will say the art of this run. I think this is the Alessandro's like very first comic book work, and I was tweeting with one of my followers, B Rats. He also said it on Twitter. He was like, "This art feels very hazy." And I was like, I feel like that's the perfect way to describe it. I think the motion is very fluid. He shines in action scenes. I think whenever he does like destruction, it's kind of abstract, and he does a lot of stuff. Again, the stained glass scarlet design is amazing in this run. I think where it falls a little flat for me is some of his backgrounds. I wish they were a little bit more detailed. But considering this is his first big work, that's something he'll grow to. I've seen a lot of other artists who are in similar boats, and when you look at them now, it's like, this is crazy. This is a whole new person. All in all, I will give this issue a 4 out of 5 also. I think
Okay.
like to get to know Hunter's Moon and for this to be like the real first issue that delves into him, he's super interesting. I love anything that really adds to the lore of like Khonshu and what goes on with him. I love the idea of there being multiple disciples, which is something that we've like been hinted at over the last few years in a lot of different Moon Knight runs, but we haven't really gotten into it in this type of way. And I think that's what sets this one apart. Highly recommend it.
Okay. All right, y'all. And up next is Seven Secrets number 14.
Mm.
Take this one away.
You know, you
Tom
really
Taylor book, right?
Yes, it is a Tom Taylor book, and you really need to start reading it. We're 14 issues in.
I know.
It's getting crazy, and it's like because I mean the Amazon Comixology thing, soon it's gonna be hard to buy certain stuff anyway.
Ciao.
But this run is like, well, this issue in particular deals with kind of like the fallout of all the stuff. We know that Casper is going to die at the end, and so really everything is kind of just like leading up until this point. So his mom got shot. We find them back in London. She's healing because they've been hanging out with the Queen, and the Queen is like, you know, being the Queen, people are going to do whatever you say. So like they go to this hospital, but they don't tell anybody they're there. On the other side, some of the other secrets and holders have been found by Kanto. Kanto sets the plan in motion. He kills 2 of them in an explosion, and then when the others all come to try and fight Amon, because Amon has popped up, he shoots one of them in the head, which kind of shakes Kanto up because he's like, you know, he didn't have to kill that one. It wasn't a part of the plan and how it's supposed to go. So I think he's kind of like starting to see some cracks in their allegiance and what's going on. And while that's happening, Casper and Ava and the other folks that are with them, they're on their way to where Kanto and Amon are. Casper uses some of his powers. He like lights up, he flies down, he stops in front of Amon. But in the beginning of the issue, Casper was having this nightmare about like this big giant red monster. And so once he gets in front of Amon, Amon has one of the secrets in his case. He opens it up and he's like, Casper, this one's for you. Casper starts glowing. It's like red. It looks like he's turning into something very dangerous. And then it's to be continued.
Oh.
I know, right? It's intense.
You know, I love some powers.
I do love some powers, and there's a lot of that showing up now, which is like such an interesting turn. I think a lot of times the like street level stuff and the superhero stuff, when it intersects, it doesn't always intersect in the best way, or it's usually like just like superheroes destroying everything. I think this is one where you do get a lot of destruction. You're still seeing the superpowers and stuff come out, but that like added wanton destruction isn't really there because you're seeing it grow. And he's like still directed at one person, and he hasn't like done anything bad yet. He has only like flown. He's done like some energy thing where he goes. He's given Naomi a little bit. You don't really know what he's doing, but he's doing something.
Okay.
Although
okay.
I will say, I watched the first episode of that show on the CW.
Oh.
And she has powers.
No, they started already, like right off the jump.
Off the like the first episode, there's this mystery going on, and she's like finding out that something's happened around her adoption date, and we're just trying to figure out what it is. There's a lot of the characters from the comics are actually in the show as well, and they're just like repurposed in different ways. But she's like fighting one guy. Whenever she does something, there's like a very visual effect with nature, like leaves are blowing, the wind is like very heavy. Her hands light up.
Come on, Beyonce.
Okay, they showed her like shooting some light out of her hands. It's very light based, so I'm like interested to see if all that's going to start happening in the comic books now.
Okay.
So we'll see.
What did they ever say any at all what her powers are in the comics? Are they light based?
We've never known. Anytime she like uses them, it's like after the fact, or we don't see it. Like we've seen her glow, but then like she'll like when she's about to do something, like it cuts to a different scene, and then when it cuts back to her, she's like passed out, and they're like, "Whoa, kid, how did you do that?" it's like, oh, okay, what you do?
Huh.
Yeah, and so she's like, oh, and they're like, yeah, her powers are like really hard, like straight. Like even in the most recent Justice League issue, oh, there was an annual that came out that was illustrated by Sanford Green this week. That was really, it was still written by Bender, so it was still kind of like, eh. But Sanford Green is probably one of my favorite artists in the industry right now. In general, actually, now that I think about it, he's like up there for me. But like he illustrated it, and it just looks really good the way he draws the League. But there's the scene between Wonder Woman and Naomi, because you know Wonder Woman just came back from whatever what she was doing, like she was hanging out with the Valkyries, and she's talking to Naomi, and she's like, "Yeah, I've heard all about you. We need to go spar and like do some training together." And it's just like, why would you say that to her? What did she do?
I think that's just how she, wants to relate to her. Like, yeah, we fighting girls.
Naomi was like, I can't handle it. That's not going to happen. But nonetheless, this book is good. 7 Secrets. And I think people should go and get it.
What would you rate the issue?
A 4 out of 5. The art continues to be stellar. The colors are fantastic. The story is very engaging. The characters are interesting. The action's great. It feels poignant. It feels intense. Like again, Kanto came and like he set all his friends up and he blew the lighthouse up and 2 of them are dead and then the other one's getting shot in the head. It's like, damn, you're dropping like flies. Remember when they cut my girl's head off a few issues ago?
Yes. They do get violent in this book.
They do.
Wings of hot air.
You do.
That's my kind of action. All right, let's go ahead and take a break and then we'll come right back.
All right, cool. Hello everyone, welcome back for the panel of the week, and this week I will be doing the discussion, and I would like to talk about a character that is very near and dear to my heart. Near and dear to my heart. That is Miss Vixen, Mari Jiwi McCabe. And
yes.
I will say I did a little bit of a deep dive for this. I went back and read a lot of stuff for Vixen to just get more into the character, and unfortunately there was not a lot. And
that sucks.
And it's like really shocking to me because I feel like Vixen is a semi-popular character. I don't know. I wouldn't put her on like Justice League main 7 level, but I feel like she's that next tier. You know what I'm saying? I think people know her. I think the animated series obviously did a whole lot for her character. There she is like the hot girl. She dated Green Lantern. She was in that love triangle with him, a hot girl. And even like the Brave and the Bold version of her is like pretty dope. And she had her own animated series for the CWC that we've talked about, and it was actually pretty good. But I just wanted to like really get into her and discuss her and all the things that I'm feeling because like I love this character. We've often talked about characters having their thing, like their corner that they kind of delve into. And like we always talk about what we would consider our triangle of characters. And we've kind of assessed that mine as like street level girls, hot girls, hot boys, and the magical characters. And a lot of my like really high faves kind of hit all 3 of those components. Vixen, I've come to realize, is a character that also hits all 3 of those components. And it's like, I really love her. And she deserves so much more. So let's just go ahead.
It's wild about her that like we have very different like faves. Obviously, my triangle is very different than yours. But like Vixen, I think is dope that like we do share her because like she's dope. I feel like she has so much going for her that I see as far like a superhero that I really enjoy. And her powers are really cool. It's really a shame that she's not being like used.
I know they need to, but so getting into her, Vixen was created by Jerry Conway and Bob Oscar. Her first appearance was in Action Comics 521. This was in 1981. Now, fun fact: Vixen was actually supposed to get a series of her own. Before that, she was going to be DC's first African American woman to like headline her own series. Actually, the first Black woman to actually have her own comic book lead. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it was. I don't think there were many back in the day. But this was a part of something called the DC Implosion. So there were actually two events. The first one was called the DC Explosion. It was like this big marketing campaign that DC had done, and there were going to be a bunch of new books coming out. There was going to be a Firestorm book. Vixen was going to have her book. Steel was going to get a book. There were some other like showcase books that were coming out. But then something happened, like they caught a major loss somewhere. So like they just cut everything. And a bunch of those books that they had pushed out were no longer coming out, and Vixen was one of those.
Yeah.
I know. They always in some mess, right?
Yeah.
They are always in some mess. So that ended up not coming out, but she ends up popping up with Action Comics. She has like some of her first big outings with Superman, and from there her history in the DC is like, I'm not going to say it's shaky, but it's not really centered around her the way you would hope it is. She joins up with a lot of various teams throughout her career. She's a member of the Suicide Squad, which was written by John Ostrander. She was a member of, like, she gets recruited in the Checkmate. She starts relationships with Braun Tiger. She was a part of Justice League International. I think also she wants to say she popped up on the Justice League. No, she didn't. I was about to say something else. She didn't pop up on that team. But she
I liked her in Justice League International.
That was always a really fun thing for her. I love me some Fire and Ice too. So it's like when I see all stuff together, it's like really good. But like a lot of her big storylines kind of started happening. She gets her minor things. We talk about her totem for those who don't know. Vixen has the Tantu totem. It is a link for her to the Red, which is a field in the DC Comics that allows her to tap into the abilities of animals. Now, there was a point in time where she actually could do like other heroes as well, but there was this storyline about how it was Anansi the Spider God, who was kind of like one of her ancestors and basically a big part of the totem for her. It was a challenge he was putting on. He messed up her power somehow, so don't think that she can be mimicking the hero. She's not a power mimic in that type of way. Okay. Don't let anyone tell you she is. But that was the big story for her, and that was the Brad Meltzer Justice League run. She also gets a 5-issue miniseries written by G. Willow Wilson and drawn by Kaflu. Now, the big thing about this is when I went back and read it, I instantly recognized Kaflu's name because he was drawing the Jane Foster Valkyrie series, and he would talk about how he's currently drawing Aquaman. And yeah, Aquaman, sorry. But it was like going through that, it was like so interesting to see the evolution of style that an artist goes through, and then just like how much coloring can affect a different artist. Because where I said I didn't really like a lot of his stuff during the Jane Foster book, I loved it in this.
Yeah. Like colors really make a difference.
Colors make a difference, and it's like feels so much more comic booky than any of that other stuff did. So it was like really great to see that and get that in. And I think this is probably like, I would say, the definitive story for Vixen in DC Comics. I think
that
it's
cover for her on Alaya, that is iconic.
Everything.
I mean, come on.
And I think this is one that like just really emphasizes her as a hero and like where she stands and what she's doing and like how her heroism works. She travels back to her home country and her like little village that she grew up in before she left to become the world famous model and clothing designer and fashion icon that she is.
Hot girl.
And love her. The village is being terrorized by folks, and we come into a big plot. But like we also see a lot of her relationships with other leaguers like Superman and Batman, Black Canary, and she's like, I don't want you guys to deal with this because this is my type of issue. It's not dealing with you. I've been selfish helping you all. I gotta help my people. But in the end, she kind of realizes that like she has to help everybody. That's just the person she's become. But it's a really nice introspective story about her, and I highly recommend, if you've never read anything with Vixen in it, that's the story that you should definitely go and read. And then after that, there's not really too much else, unfortunately.
Okay.
Again, she like pops up in a lot of different books all around. She ends up her next biggest thing I would probably say is the Justice League of America book that's written by Steve Orlando during the DC Rebirth era. She
Yeah.
gets a lot of good moments there. Batman like personally recruits her into the team to kind of like help lead, and he's like, you know, somebody's got to check me, and I know you're gonna always be the person to check me. And she's like, you know, that's right. But and she also like does a lot of really cool and interesting things with her powers there. She puts on like her original suit in one of the issues. I don't know if anybody's ever seen, please go Google, look up Vixen #1, the series that was supposed to be. She's got on this real hot costume and this gold mask, and I'm sorry,
Mask.
I'm into it. I love
it's
it.
it's something.
I love it. And it's like I really love her. I really love her design now. And I love like the brown cat suit, and you know she gives a little cleavage every now and again. She'll give you some hot gloves with some claws in them, but it's like I don't know, it's something about that original thing with the hair out and the mask going. It's just like yes, this is the doll. But once you get past that, it's just like not too much, and it's so frustrating to me because again, I think Vixen is one of those characters who is very popular amongst a lot of channels and like people. They know who she is, they want to see it. Again, she had an animated series based around
It was actually
herself.
pretty cool too.
Not many DC heroines can say that.
No, they lightened her up a little bit too much in it, but like it was it was still pretty good.
It was really good. I think it was a good showcasing for her powers too. Which are
Yeah,
like,
I actually really enjoyed the story. I thought they like having the other totems,
mm,
and having it, like them like have the other like elements and stuff. I thought that was really cool, and her being
mm,
like the more spiritual one. Um, I thought that gave her like some added characters and supporting roster to that. I hoped
mm,
was going to translate into like comics, but like that just
mm.
never
There
happened.
was I can only think about like the closest thing I can really get to something else big happening for her was I'll never forget James Robinson wrote some era of Justice League and he wrote Vixen out of the book, but he did an interview later on saying like that wasn't the original ending for her. He was basically going to have her go back to Africa. She was going to team up with Freedom Beast and they were going to like start the Justice League of Africa.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, but that never happened.
Why do plans always fall through for her? That's a shame.
It's like somebody's got their voodoo doll and they're working overtime and I need them to let up on the doll just a little
For
bit
real. For
because
real.
she needs to be seen. Now, I would really love her to pop up in the DCEU. I don't know if you have seen the most recent like Be a Hero trailer that they released with like glimpses
Oh
of the
yeah.
movies and the Hawkman reveal.
First of all, Hawkman, he got to take that armor off.
Okay,
Okay.
we need boobs. We've seen if you've
Okay, I'm
never
trying
seen
to see that
Aldous
chest.
Hodge on his little Instagram, on his gym pics,
Mhm,
he's working on that chest, baby. We need to see
mhm.
that chest.
I need
Go
that.
ahead. And it's like I feel bad because I kind of knew there was going to be a harness. Like all his other adaptations, they give him a harness. But I was like, this is a
Yeah,
movie. Like we can be a little campy. We can have a little fun. I think he might get like a second version of where he does have a harness. That's what I'm
I
crossing
think
my
so
fingers
too.
for.
There's definitely going to be like, the final
Mhm.
costume team up thing. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I feel yet about that movie as a whole.
You know,
You
I'm not
know,
gonna lie to you. I was not really digging it. I think we talked a little bit about it before. It's just like, you know, Black Adam, The Rock, and all that. But that trailer got me. I'm sorry. Like seeing Adam Smasher, seeing Hawkman, seeing Cyclone, seeing Doctor Fate, and they all look good. And then
I think I think I'm gonna like the like moments where they're using their powers.
I, I'm in. I'm sorry. They got me. I love it. And it's just like I love the JSA though. You know, I was and it
Oh
made me
yeah, you
kind
are a
of
big JSA
realize
fan.
it
Yeah,
kind of made me realize I was like, I think I like the JSA more than the JLA.
yeah. I do. I think you are a pretty big JSA fan.
Those are my people right there. So it was like I'm really
That's
excited
pretty
for them.
cool.
They're cool. But you know, I would like to see Vixen kind of like pop in the DCU now. Now that we seem to be like on the right track. Like it's a
We were on A track.
it's a, it's, a little, it's always a little shaky. I'm never
I
gonna
don't know
take
if it's
that
the
away
right
from
one.
him. It's always a little shaky, but it seems like we're getting on the good foot. And it's like she could pop up in that world. I would absolutely love that. And for her casting,
Mm.
Shannon Thornton.
Oh,
She
oh
currently
yeah, she's
she
gorgeous.
currently plays on P Valley. If you've never looked her up, please go and look her up. Shannon Thornton. She's on Instagram. She is like beautiful. And this is the thing about Vixen. And honestly, I'll be a little bit real. Vixen is like Vixen is supposed to be beautiful. Gorgeous woman.
Yeah.
She is an international supermodel. She's striking. You know it. You see that. You get
She's
this.
called Vixen.
She's called Vixen. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a hot girl. And I think the cartoons have always done a really good job of showing that, to be perfectly honest. They've always made sure she looked like the baddie that we know her to be. I do feel like in her comic book appearances, they fall a little flat on that sometimes. I think short hair for a lot of male artists can be difficult to draw and maintain, and like how they look at it. And when you look at Vixen, you know the shortcut. You know, you expect like maybe like a Rihanna Pixie or something like that. Yeah. Or in that, but they got like, it looks very unkept.
Yeah.
And it's just and it's just like
style it.
It's just like you don't know how to style it. And I think she can also fall victim to, you know, cheesecakey art that like kind of overemphasizes things that don't need to be overemphasized and makes some of her costumes look a little bit ridiculous. I actually think my favorite iteration of her costume is like when it's mostly with the brown collar up, but it's like got the black bits on it.
Mm-hmm.
That one's really great. Her Injustice costume is also really good. If you ever played the Injustice 2 game, she comes in as a skin for Cheetah, and she looks great in that.
I only played Cheetah as Vixen.
Same. I was just about to say that. It's the only reason I've ever played with Cheetah, and it's like I kind of hate it because I don't like the way Cheetah moves. So I'm like, hopefully in Injustice 3, they let my girl get her own person because she deserves it.
And I understand like using her abilities might be hard, but like figure it out.
I feel like it's not even that hard. You give her like a nice little template of 3, maybe like a bird that flies. You got Gorilla Grodd. Mm-hmm. You can give her some strength. I don't know, maybe have her do a stomp or something, or even keep it like cat move in there. But it's just like
I don't even think you even got to do all of that. You can just like every like action move that she does. Mm-hmm. All you just got to do is just put a spirit of an animal thing over it, and there you go.
Boom, good to go.
When you see her do a roll, just put like an armadillo thing over it.
I don't know why I was going to say it's a worm.
Okay, we don't need you in
I don't think worms roll like that. But you know,
my favorite superhero costume was the one that she had in her animated series. I really like that one. Like it's like black bottom. You know, I'm sorry, y'all. I love a sleeveless look. It is what it is. And sleeveless with a glove, I love it. And she looked great in that.
She does look good in that. I think I would like to see something like that translated to her for the comics. Mm-hmm. I know they tried again in like that little Truth and Justice miniseries that she had, but I wasn't a big fan of that.
I didn't like that costume.
You read that one, didn't you?
Yeah, I reviewed it on the show, but I didn't like it at all. She was talking about Idris Elba. It was weird.
Why would she talk about Idris Elba? I would never understand that. It's like, I mean, my thing is like there are in-universe celebrities that you can use.
Right.
Like use them. It's perfectly fine. But I don't know. You know, and that's kind of crazy. It's sad because like I really want Vixen back in a book. You know what I'm saying? I think a big thing that's kind of like eluded her is DC is all about its families and like who the characters are connected to, and unfortunately she doesn't have like a family. I think even like Black Lightning got his own like family to kind of move out of Batman's shadow with, and
she needs a corner.
And I think either you need to start really building that out for her, or you need to like start with like baby steps and put her in somebody else's world a little bit more permanently. I think the best character to do that with would be Superman. That is someone who she made her first hero appearance with. He was a big part of her miniseries and like how they interacted. I think their interactions are cool. She could of course do Batman, but it's like everybody kind of does Batman after a while, and their time was like that Justice League of America thing. I think honestly Superman is a little bit more niche and exciting for her to be in right now.
You know, I feel like she is a character because of her powers and what she can do. Like she can already kick ass and fight, but also just like the like superhero aspects of it. She can fit so many corners that you aren't really sure exactly which one to really put her, because she is kind of a street level hero. She can like, you know, get down in there and fight. So she could fit in a Batman corner, but she also has superpowers. So she could sit in Superman as well. She could also fit like a Justice League Dark.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really hot
kind of characters.
Ooh, and get her back with Zatanna.
I would probably put her more so over there and be like, kind of tap into more of like the magical stuff of her totem.
Her totem, and then increasing that, I think that would also be a really interesting aspect. You got Anansi, the spider god, who is like her descendant. So get into that. I used to have an idea of like relaunching Justice League Dark with her and Zatanna as the leads, but I couldn't come up with the rest of the team, so I just let it die. But I'm always here for my girls to get together because we all know DC, like Zatanna is my other like fave. All right,
Yeah.
that's my girlie. So like, if I can get together, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
But I just need her in something, you know? And I've been thinking there's a lot of great writers over at DC right now. And it's like, I don't know if it's cliche to just say I want like Stephanie to get the chance to write her for a little bit after what she's been doing on Nubia. But it's like, give Stephanie that shot.
Why not?
let her give Vixen some love. If she couldn't do it, I don't think I got anybody else just yet.
Maybe G Willow could come back for a mini again.
I would actually love that. She actually, so if you follow along on the Twitter account, we were doing a little bit of a reread and like posting some pages and stuff and talking about the issue as I was going through it. And she actually commented on it, and she was just talking about like how Vixen is the best. And it's shocking to me again how nothing ever came from that miniseries, because not only was it really well done, she laid out so many ideas of what you could do with Vixen's character in the story and like introduced some elements to the history and potential villains. And it was just like nobody wants to touch on this. I don't believe it.
Yeah. Something like, I hope she doesn't have any kind of like legal things or anything going on behind the scenes.
I don't know. So, I mean, they had that version of her on Legends of Tomorrow, but it wasn't like our Vixen.
Right. But I remember they had to like change that actress because she was on Arrow. There was one actress that had they were bringing Vixen in on Arrow, and they were going to use her in Legends of Tomorrow, but then like she like dropped out of the show to do something else. And they like
it wasn't her live action version supposed to be like the live action version of the animated cartoon?
Yes, they were the same. I think they existed in the same universe.
Yeah,
the same character.
You gotta love DC.
You know, they try to do whatever.
you know who should do a one shot for Vixen? Joelle Jones.
That would be hot.
That would be hot.
Look great.
Just the one, exactly. And just the one shot, like something like very quick, maybe like a good like 40 pages.
She needs to do the 0 issue for Vixen's like solo.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
She do the 0. Yes. Get everybody hyped for it.
She can even design a new costume.
That would be hot.
That's what we need. Let her do that.
Those designs are great.
Designs are fantastic. So let her get that in there, pop it off, boom. Then we can hand it over to Stephanie.
Boom.
I love it.
I'm into it. You see, I hope you're listening.
Please, God, because please, Vixen really deserves again. Like the stuff she's been in. She's been around a lot. She's been in a lot of teen books. You know she's there. But like she really is a character that could do for a nice little rebirth. I'm shocked like it's taken so long. I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody in DC just doesn't like. Maybe somebody's got it against her. It's like we need to find who they are and get them out the door.
It's wild because she really does have it all to like make it as her own solo character and to really be like her own pillar.
She does. Great power. She's got like her own little set of villains and that she could pull from. You could even, I think she's one of those characters you can even pull from other heroes and like give her those villains. I think somebody like Dr. Savannah and Chemo would be really good for her. Plastique is someone who she fought before that would be really cool. I think Queen of Fables is someone who I'm just like kind of interested in, so I wouldn't mind seeing them. They also have a little bit of stuff going on in Steve Orlando. It's like she's got it. She's got the she's got the stuff. So I need everyone to like, after you listen to this, go to your Twitters or your Facebooks or your Instagrams or whatever and like tweet something to DC Comics and be like, I don't know, free Vixen.
Yeah.
Whatever we need to make the hashtag, like let's make it and like let's get it popping because she deserves. Okay?
Truly.
But, you know, that was just my little spiel about Vixen and her character today. Let us know your thoughts on what you guys like about her, some of her favorite appearances, the cartoons, the games, if you like have to unfortunately play with Cheetah because of her. And
I know.
let's talk Vixen. Let's take a break and then we'll
All right,
come on back.
let's do it. Oh, Thor.
It's really
Sitting that
sad because
hammer.
it's like become its own thing now. It's like like how Carol's binary form has
Mm-hmm.
a form that happened to Million, the Hammer.
Really?
Yeah, whatever. We're not talking about
Okay.
it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite part of the show, the relaunch section. And I think I have an exciting one today. I would like to go first, if you don't mind.
All right. Ooh, go for it.
Okay,
What you
so
got?
for those who don't know, hopefully you know because I've spoken about it a few times, but the Black Manta miniseries was out. The last issue of it actually came out this week. It was very exciting. I think it's did a lot of lead in for the Aquaman series that is starting later this year. If you don't have that on your pull list, you can be sure to tell your local comic book store or subscribe. Oh, I don't know if you can be able to subscribe on Comixology anymore. I don't know what's going on with that, but
Go to
that
Amazon. Figure it out from there.
yeah. Go to Amazon. It does come out February 22nd, and this miniseries has some stuff that's going to lead into it. But the character Dr. Mist guest starred recently in it, and he was a big part of this last issue and like helping people get their memories back and like kind of figuring out what was going on with the entire situation. And it really started making me think about Dr. Mist in general and how I'm kind of into him. He did a little bit of a stint on the Justice League Dark for a period of time. For those who don't know, his original story was that he was in this like other realm that's like mystical, and he gained his powers from this stone, but Felix Faust came to that universe and like basically humiliated him, so they cast him out. But he was also it's like a mystical African nation. He was also like the king of it and everything. And they cast him out, but then he was rebooted for the New 52, as most of the heroes were. And in this one, he was from Earth, but his wife died, and he started to look into the mystical arts as a way to get her resurrected. It didn't work, but he stayed on. But nonetheless, my relaunch for this week is, in fact, Dr. Mist. I think for him, I would just like to get a little mini series. I think the mystical aspect of the DC universe is something that we see a lot, but we don't really ever kind of get into what it is. I think I would like to see just a 5 to 6 issues of him just really exploring the mystical side of the DC universe, and we're seeing more of him in just his realm that he comes from, because I think they did end up actually bringing some elements of that back into it. He's going to be my next deep dive. So again, if you don't follow the Twitter account, please be sure to go and follow Another Relaunch, because that's where I tend to post a lot of my thoughts and screen grabs from the issues themselves. But I think it's time. We don't really see a lot of black mystical men around outside of like Dr. Voodoo, and we could stand for a
Yeah.
few more. His costume's very hot.
His costume was cool. Little
And
swirls and
then
stuff are pretty cool.
and then because I was talking about her earlier, I would like Vixen to make a little appearance to get mixed up in some mystical shenanigans, and maybe we could get some sparks flying there, because his wife is dead. It's time to.
Oh, move on.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, a
I
couple of
don't
my
know about
faves
Vixen
from
being with
last
him now. I
year.
don't know.
That's just because you want her with John, but you need to let that
I
go.
don't even know about that one anymore. I do. I want John with
Oh,
fatality again.
now that's the
But
one that
like,
should wake up. That's
I
the
don't know
space
about.
Bat cat.
I don't
I
know.
don't need it. Like I don't need again. Like I really like her with Bronze Tiger. If I'm being perfectly honest, like that's my
Mhm.
OTP. But I also like the idea of giving these characters like like real life. They got to date around, get a few couple of people under their belt, and see
Child.
kind of what. And
Not
see
too
what
close to the
clicks
black.
around. And then once she's done with that, she can spin the block and head on back to Bronze Tiger.
All right. All right. Not
So
spin the block. No,
yeah,
not going back.
yeah, she can spin that block. But again, when I was reading the Brad Meltzer stuff, she said it. She was like, "Oh, I'm always gonna love him." I was like, "Girl,
Mm. We've all
hate
been
to
there.
see it. hate to see. But no,
Hate to
so
see
yeah,
it.
my relaunch for the week is Dr. Mist. Just kind of going through some mystical elements of the DC universe. Of course, you probably get some shenanigans. I'd like to see some other folks pop in. Maybe Etrigan. I've always liked him. Again, Vixen could pop in. I don't necessarily need Zaytana. I think she's great, but I don't really think her and Dr. Mist will get along that well. You probably get like a Constantine for the type of story he would be in.
Okay.
Even though I don't like Constantine.
You know how I feel about magic girls. Okay, but this is cool. I do think there needs to be a lot more like standalone magic characters, I guess. They only ever seem to kind of come together in a team up or something outside of, Zatanna or Constantine. So I'm all for some more solo characters. All right, let me tell you. So my relaunch this week is more science-based, but we are sticking into DC. And it is for Amazo. Now, this robot is a robot that was created by Professor Ivo, and it can mimic the abilities of superheroes that he fights. Usually, it's always the Justice League, so Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter, Flash, all of them. So my relaunch for him would be, I think that he's a pretty good villain. A character like that is someone that the heroes can fight and they can use their powers against. But I think that he needs to be made into a bigger threat. So I've been reading some Green Lantern comics recently and forgot how much Cyborg Superman is a villain for Green Lantern Hal Jordan. Now, what I would do is I would make Amazo a bigger villain, probably for Jon Stewart, and and have him connect with the Manhunters. So previously, before the Guardians of the Galaxy, the little blue people who started the Green Lantern Corps, before they started the Corps with human beings, they had robots called the Manhunters, and they were like their police force. I would have Amazo go get these rogue Manhunters, work with them, and basically soup himself up, become a bigger threat within the DC universe. Have him with an army of Amazos. Basically give him that Nimrod treatment, that Nimrod Bastion kind of thing. Yeah, and just make him a bigger threat within the DC universe.
Okay.
I feel like DC needs more bigger villains or whatever, instead of just creating new ones. I think you can sometimes just pull from the past and just soup them up.
I agree. I think they need more villains to fight as a whole. I think when you think of those Doomsday events of why the Justice League is coming together and who are they fighting, you need something really big like that. And I think Amazo is a perfect use of that. And then making more of him, yeah, it's scary.
That'd be hot. They don't really have like you said, an Ultron kind of robot for them, to kind of come all together to fight. So I think Amazo could kind of be that for the DC universe.
Okay, I'm into it.
Yeah. So that is the relaunches for the week. Please be sure to check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Please make sure you rate and subscribe us too. We really appreciate all the support. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Another Relaunch. You can find me on most social media platforms at Uncanny LZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys know you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keenan Lance, and there's an underscore at the end. And of course, as always, be on the lookout. We're going to be having another rewatch this time. It's going to be a good movie, though. We're going to be rewatching Black Panther. So again, please keep your eyes peeled to the Twitter Spaces. And
she really got stabbed in that leg.
It was iconic. The scream hits. I'm sorry, but
Oh, what a movie.
New cat time, Black Panther. So be on the lookout.
Yes. Check us out next week. Watch Black Panther. All right, y'all. Let's get up out of here. We'll catch y'all next week.